What's going on, world? What's going on? It's your boy, Jehovah. Right back at that ass again. Here's another one, a two, a three, a four. What's going on, y'all? What's going on, man? Just checking in. Actually, it's your main man, the author. So used to saying your boy, but it's your main man, the author. Back at that ass again. You know what it is. I just want to make this brief video, man. First and foremost, want to welcome all the new subscribers. I appreciate the support. Have a pretty small audience. I kind of like it that way. That way, I don't feel like I have to, because when a person has a large audience or a lot of subscribers, sometimes they feel like they have to dumb down their content to keep their subscribers and to gain more subscribers. I like being at a point where I can just pretty much, say what I want to say, speak freely, don't have to worry about trying to adhere to certain guidelines, of course to YouTube guidelines, but not to anyone else's personal criteria. Even though I'm a lot of things are up for the debate. These are my, opinions. But I wanted to make a brief video about this topic, man, and it's I had written it down. Very important. Feminism created black diesel dykes. Now I want to talk about Butch Chivalry, black diesel dykes and Butch Chivalry. And I touched on this in some other videos previously. Just a tidbit. I think in my other video when I talked about, I forgot, I think it's entitled Black Women's Only Options Are to Date Each Other. And I talked about how soon it's going to get to a point where black women are not going to have any choice. Now certain black women are dabbling, trying to be bisexual. And I see that going on. But soon black women are going to have no choice. All they're going to be able to do is date each other. I mean, you heard it here first. Soon they won't have any choice. And I think deep in their subconscious, they know that. And this is why this Butch Chivalry is starting. So it's not just, what I mean by that is, it's not just black women, experimenting with lesbianism, like with the toys and a one woman licking another woman, because they're pretty much following white women. Because I know when I was growing up, there were no black female dykes. I mean, now the media will say that it was and blah blah blah, but I never saw it. It wasn't in my neighborhood. Now I'm not saying there weren't females who probably had that behavior, because you got to remember, up until 1973, being a homosexual or a lesbian was looked at as a mental disorder. Up until 1973, that's only a few years older than I am. So up until that point, and after 73, things changed. Of course, that's when the feminism and all that stuff came into play. But basically, I wanted to speak on this Butch Chivalry. First, I heard about white women doing it, and now it seems like a lot of women are doing it. And then, black women pretty much follow whatever white women do. It's just the truth, man. Whatever they do, sooner or later, black women want to prove that they can do it too. I don't know why black women seem like they want to be in direct competition with white women, but they don't seem to remember that every other race of women is over them economically, not just white women. White women are in that top tier in terms of being over them economically, but so are Mexican women, so are Arab women, so are Asian women, and they forget all about those women. But not that I have anything against lesbians per se, but growing up, like what my grandmother always told me, she said, God didn't call a woman to preach, right? And now you have lesbians, black female lesbians, becoming pastors. and they say that they believe in the Bible, but the Bible says that a woman should never preach, right? And not only that, but the Bible is also against homosexuality and lesbianism. But you have a lot of females who are black lesbians preaching. So that's a double sin, but they always try to twist. And I talked to a black lesbian about that. And she tried to twist the Bible and turn it and say that, well, it's also saying this. But it's like you can't get around that, man. If you say you believe in the Bible, you have to recognize that, first of all, the Lord didn't call a woman to preach. Next, most importantly, the Lord is against homosexuality and lesbianism. And I'm not trying to preach a sermon, but I'm saying the black female is very hypocritical when she says that she believes in the Lord and, oh Lord this and oh God this and Jesus did this for me, but you're blatantly disobeying his laws. So if you do believe in Christianity, you deserve to be cursed for that, man. Just say that you don't have a religion. You have plenty of black females that do the lick. They'll lick other females and they'll play around, excuse me, with other females, and then they'll say, "Oh, praise God, or praise Jesus, praise God, praise Jesus," right? But the Lord looks at you as an abomination. You know what I'm saying? So that's very hypocritical. But my point is, I don't want to get straight from the topic of the video. Feminism created Diesel, Dikes, the Butch. So basically, when females are like, white females taught black females this feminism ideology, and it's like 3 waves of white feminism. And white females never really needed feminism anyway. Initially, feminism was just a thing for white lesbians, and the females who were lesbian were typically the women that the other men didn't want. I repeat, the feminists were lesbians, and they were the women left over that white men weren't attracted to. So they became lesbians, and they created the feminist movement. So lesbians were ahead of that movement. And now you can see why Black Lives Matter. If you go to their site, they will show when you read the site, when they talk about family, they'll have 1 stick figure and 2 stick figures behind the one. So they're actually promoting single parent families. So that stick figure in front is the black mother, and the 2 stick figures behind that figure, are the 2 children. So, and if you look at the Black Lives Matter movement, or if you actually go to one of the protests, a lot of times there's females talking, and if it's a black female who has the bullhorn, who's leading the march, in most cases she's a lesbian. All right, you can tell by her butch personality that she wants to be masculine. So she doesn't know the strength of her femininity, so she wants to be masculine. So she's deeply conflicted. But black females have followed this on the road to their own destruction. And it's Butch chivalry, where white females taught black females, you could do bad all by yourself, blah, blah, blah. You don't need a man. Welfare ensured that, black men had to be out of the house in order for the female to get the full amount of the money. And what I found out too is this white guy was doing these videos about welfare. He said that they used to go door to door promoting welfare, saying, okay, are you a single mother? Do you cook and clean? So they used to go, we have these services for you. So they used to go in the 70s when they were first promoting welfare. They were going door to door, just like people who were selling cable or e-shield in your house. They were door to door salesmen selling the welfare program. So and it ultimately sucked in the black females, just like Margaret Sanger's abortion, abortion plan, uh, and basic, which calls is now I think there's more black babies being aborted than born, thanks to Margaret Sanger, what she started in the early 70s, also around 1973. All right, so all this stuff interconnects, and eventually they made the black diesel dykes, and now you can see them out in the world now. And a lot of men will follow a dyke, like I was saying in my other video. They'll follow a dyke before they follow another man, because it's this dyke where I work, man. I mean, you look at it. I say it because I'm not sure, but now they say that it's a female. And when I first looked at it, I couldn't tell if it was a male or a female. And this other lady, a customer, came up to me and was like, "Yo, what was that boy?" And I said, "That's a girl." And she was like, "Oh, I thought it was a dude." So you have a growing number of that, all around the country, especially in major cities like Charlotte. It's been in New York City. It started there. They were doing, because they have the Village, East Village, where it's nothing but homo and lesbian relations. And like I said, females who are bisexual, I'm not totally, knocking them, but when you want to be a man, when you want to be masculine, I have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? When you're a female, that's wrong. And I'm not saying I'm totally a Christian. And like if two females wanted to sleep with me, I can. I've done that. I'm not saying I'm perfect in that area, but I don't promote Butch chivalry. At the end of the day, I think you need a household where you have the man and female running the household. I don't believe it should be, and I think that can confuse your kids as well. You have a woman that's trying to look like a man, and then you have a woman. Because I heard of one black female on the train. She says that she only dates dykes who look like men because she doesn't want to confuse her child. Because if there's two feminine women, then the child might be confused. So she wants to have a girl who looks like a man, so the kid won't be confused. Well, what about when the kid does find out that that Butch could be walking out of the bathroom, and then she sees the Butch has tits? How do you explain? Oh, mommy, why do you and your boyfriend both have tits? Or you and your boyfriend, your boyfriend doesn't have a cock. And not to get vulgar with it, but I'm just saying that's going to lead to more confusion. You're trying to trick the child. So the Butch chivalry, I think, is a way for black women know that their options are starting to narrow. They know that they're not acceptable to other races because other races of men don't look at them as a prize. Especially nowadays when a lot of young black women are prostitution, black female prostitution in the inner city has gone to an all-time high. So it's gotten to the point where, just about any black female you can bang. If you got $50 in a blunt, you can pretty much get 80% of them. It used to not be that like that. At first, they tried to be the other generation. My mother's generation tried to be the gold diggers, but then things keep getting worse. So you go from gold digger to just saying "fuck it," I'll just be a whore. And they're not good at being whores. You can give them like $50 and a blunt and do whatever you want. And then some of them are procreating too. And then the son has to deal with the fact that the mother's a whore. Take this brief 13 crimes break. Good shit. But This Butch chivalry was started from feminism. And like I always say, when whites catch a cold, blacks catch pneumonia. So now black females have kind of outdone white females in terms of, lesbian relationships. It used to be San Francisco. I think now Atlanta is the gay capital of the world, definitely of the country. And I think this rapper Pimp C was talking about that, and they didn't like when he was talking about it. And he ended up getting killed because he was talking about how Atlanta was the gay capital, and he was like, if you guys are doing things that you don't think is right, you shouldn't be doing it. And he ended up getting, he died under mysterious circumstances after he said that. But he put the rap industry on blast. But for a long time, the gay capital was San Francisco. Then it became, now I think it's Atlanta. Charlotte may end up taking that title. I know it's a lot here. But the Butch chivalry is what we have going on now, where black females are starting to not only get with other females, but they're getting with other females who are trying to take the role of men. Like I said, I work with a Butch, and I think she tried to try me in terms of, I guess, because some of them think the Butches think that they should be over men, because some black men have given their power away to Butches, some of these weaker black men. And it doesn't matter what size you are, how big you are, how many muscles you may have. I'm talking about internal strength. So they'll sit there, these black men will sit there and listen to a Butch speak. And I'm not really into that, man. I'm not following a woman who wants to be a man. She wants to be like me. Why would I sit there? And not saying I'm going to openly disrespect, but what they do is some of the Butches try to push their purse, because she doesn't like it. I don't talk to her, and she doesn't talk to me. My thing is, I'm not your age. I'm much older than you. If you can't respect that, then you don't have any integrity. So I don't want to talk to you. So I don't talk to her. But she hates that, and a lot of the other men who work there will listen to her speak. I won't. I think one time they were having a conversation. I went to check on the coffee, and then she was speaking. I just walked right back out because I'm not really a big fan of that. I know what that now, and some Butches don't really understand why they are the way they are, or how they became the way they became, or the history behind it. But I do understand that. So, and I can work with you and be cordial and work under the same roof, but I'm not going to follow that. We have nothing to say if it doesn't pertain to work. I don't typically want to talk with them during work. But a lot of them Butches try to bully black men socially as well, or try to take over a masculine role, or take on a masculine role and try to, outdo other men when it comes to masculinity. And it's like, that's ridiculous. You can't. You're biologically not even created that way. And just the fact that you don't see the strength in your own femininity, which could take you a lot farther, just shows how weak you are internally and how conflicted you are. And like I said, it's not all their fault, but not wanting to change is a part of that fault as well. So, I just want to make a video about that, man. Be sure to like, subscribe. Let me know what you think. But I would never let a Butch female bully me. Like I said, you may have to work for some of them because they want to give them jobs over black men for obvious reasons. They want Butches to control a household. They prefer that because they're easily controlled by Butches are easily controlled by white women. If you want to control a Butch and you're a black man over a corporation, all you have to do is throw a white female in the mix and they're totally under control. I repeat, all you have to do is throw, because the average white woman controls pretty much all the black women. They follow her lead, whether she knows something or not. So if you want to control the butch, you get a white female, and she's totally under control. Because I think I told one butch, this butch told me, oh, because they still are females, even though they try to be masculine, they'll still do petty shit. Like, get the rubber band from this drawer, not this drawer. Because whatchamacallit doesn't like it when you get it from this drawer. And I said, don't worry about that because I don't work for her anyway. And then she got mad, got up and walked out. Because she tried to do a little control power thing. Talking about, did you hear what I said? I'm like, I don't, she can tell I didn't care. I don't care what she said. I still took it from the drawer I wanted to take it from. But they play little games like that, just try to see how far they can go by being a butch. Because at the end of the day, sorry, a little tongue tie. At the end of the day, all butches know that they're not men. They can never become a man. They don't have the biological makeup to even do such a thing. They're typically the woman produces about 60% estrogen, 40% testosterone. So they don't have that biological makeup. So they're angry at that. They want to have the black man's place. The white power elite will do that, will give them that spot. But they know that they're frauds. They know that. And you may, and they can try, and there's probably plenty of weak black men that they have been able to run over in the past, but you're not going to be able to run over everyone. And then when they bump into someone like me, it's like a shock. It's a reality. Like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, I really am a butch. I can't, and it fucked with their psyche. Like, oh shit, I knew I wasn't a man to begin with, But yeah, I mean, and little things you can do, black man, to take back your rightful place of the throne. Like I said, we may never be able to get this entire thing correct the way it should be, because that's going to take generation after generation. It's probably going to take generation after sacrificial generation. I don't know if we have the time or the resources to do that, but we can make it a bit harder for them to take over by taking a stand, man. I mean, I'm not saying you got to beat every butcher's ass, but if a butch jumps up and you have to do what you have to do, then you do what you have to do. It's not about winning or losing. It's about making sure that you give any butch, because some of them are strong, some of them are big, but you give any butch the punishment you would give any man if they were to cross that line on you, So, and it's going to be up to us, regardless of all this nonsense that's going on. It's going to be up to men in general and black men in general to make the world, or let the world know, that masculinity is not dead. Masculinity still matters. And by doing that, you reflect your own alpha malehood. By letting that be known, man, and by not letting and I'm not saying you have to argue every butch down, but when they use their little bully tactics, you can point it out and slap it down, man, and just let them know, hey, look, and it can be very subtle. I slap hers down subtly every time, and just let them know, hey, man, I mean, and I'd rather you not talk to me at all than if we can have a relationship, but yours is going to be masculine and mine's going to, no. If that's the case, then don't talk to me at all, And any man should be against butch chivalry. And when they know it's happening in their race or in their community or in their church, you should be against that, because it's, first of all, it's nonsense. Biologically, it can't happen. Mentally, it can't happen. And then when they do that, they're in mental conflict, and then it makes everything weaker because they don't see the strength in their own femininity. and it's a lot of strength in femininity, and alpha females know that, and they don't pretty much interact with butches for the most part. These females, now I'm not saying certain females don't play around and things of that nature, but as far as alpha females definitely don't want to be butch, because butches aren't alpha females. They're like they are sociopaths. They're in conflict. They're in, they have like a mental illness, just like what people were talking about Tony Soprano. I don't know if you ever watched The Sopranos on HBO, but there was an argument online where we talked about, some people thought that Tony Soprano was an alpha male, and I was like, well, no, he's not, because he's lost, he's depressed. Alpha knows himself spiritually, he's in tune. And Tony said many times, well, he let it be known many times in the Sopranos episode how he was in conflict and he had panic attacks. And the Sopranos was about a gangster who had a psychiatrist and the day-to-day life of a gangster, because pretty much America has exhausted its gangster narrative, so they wanted to take a turn with that, and they wanted to try to paint Tony Soprano as an alpha, but some of the writers who probably created him weren't even alphas themselves. So, and a lot of people, he had people fooled, and this one guy came online after I made my comment, and he was like, Ray's right. That Tony's not an alpha, he's a psychopath. And there's a fine line. Now, some psychopaths or sociopaths do have alpha traits, but you shouldn't confuse them with an alpha, because it's not just about, being in control, having power. It's the way you attain that. Did you attain that through respect, or did you attain that through fear? So, and alphas aren't lost or depressed or highly emotional. So those are other tactics that'll, distinguish an alpha between a regular male. But I didn't want to get into that whole too much into that spiel. I don't want to ramble. But that's my take on Butch Chivalry. I've already went too far. Make sure to like and subscribe. I appreciate all my subscribers. Let me know what you think. If I was right, if I was wrong. You can put your comments in the comment section. And this is your boy Arthur, and I'm signing out.